Welcome to the All Ball Show, presented by Abstract Sports, where we bring sports back to life. I'm your host, Kyle Clay 2K. In the All Ball Show, we focus on basketball-only content, and to tip things off, I'm covering every single team in the NBA from worst to best in each conference. I'm going to look at their rosters and discuss how I think they're going to perform this upcoming season. And now for the last team in our NBA preview show for the 2018-2019 season, let's talk about the number one seeded Western Conference team, Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets compete in the National Basketball Association. No way. It's like we've been talking about the NBA this entire time. As a member of the league's Western Conference and Southwest Division, the team plays its home games at the Toyota Center, located in downtown Houston. Downtown's the best kind of town, I'll tell you what. Their owner is Tillman Fertitta. Head coach is Mike D'Antoni. He was a former coach for the Lakers, didn't pan out very well. They won a championship in 1994 and 1995. The Rockets have the 8th highest all-time regular season record. That's a fun fact, 53%. There you go. This Houston Rockets team was a force to be reckoned with last year. They were just firing on all cylinders, hitting a lot of three-pointers, very crafty on the offensive side of the ball, able to get past guys, get around guys, dribble around guys, dribble through guys, do everything to score points. And that they did. With a 65-17 record, they were alone at the top, even 7 wins above the Warriors. They were 41-11 in conference play, 34-7 at home, 31-10 on the road. So their conference play was the best in-conference record in the West by 7 wins and 1 more than the Raptors in the East. At home, their record tied for the best home record in the NBA with the Raptors, who was the number 1 in the East. And then 31-10 on the road was the best road record in the NBA last season. They won in all categories in their record. It makes sense they're the number 1 seed, but that tells you they're the number 1 overall seed in the NBA playoffs last year. With that being said, let's talk about how they performed in the playoffs. They did really well. They got there and they showed that they deserved to be there. They played the Minnesota Timberwolves in the round 1. They won in Game 5s. They gave up 1 loss on the road in Minnesota in Game 3. But they moved past the 8 seed onto the 5 seed Utah Jazz, beat them in 5 games. They lost 1 at home, which was a little bit strange. Moved on from the 5 seed on to take on the number 2 seed Golden State Warriors, where their journey came to an end. However, they did take them to a 7-game series, which is all you can ask for. Put it all on the line and hope for the best. They lost in Game 7 to the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors went on to win. We got another repeat of the Cavs and Warriors and another repeat of the Warriors beating them. Let's take a look at the roster that got them so far in a difficult Western Conference. They had a lot of players last year, actually. 24. They were up at the higher number that we've talked about in this show. Geez, there's so many players. Ryan Anderson, Trevor Ariza, Tarek Black, Bobby Brown, Markel Brown, Isaiah Canaan, Clint Capella, Eric Gordon. Clint Capella, he was one guy who really came into his own last year, started dominating on the defensive end in some very big ways, like getting blocks, rebounds for days. We'll see that in the stats here in just a minute. Eric Gordon, Gerald Green, James Harden, Nene Hilario, RJ Hunter, Aaron Jackson, Demetrius Jackson, Joe Johnson, Luke Mbamute, Chinanu Onuaku, Chris Paul, Zhu Chi, Tim Quarterman, PJ Tucker, Briante Weber, Troy Williams, and Brandon Wright. That's a ton of players. What's really going to be telling is the numbers here. They have so many players, but how was the spread across all of them? I'm really curious to see that. I mean, James Harden was alone at the top with 30 points per game this season, 30.4. He had 8.8 assists as well. So that's something to say. I mean, you're passing the ball and scoring the ball, but he did have a lot of other weapons to pass to be fair. 5.4 total rebounds per game. And then you've got 5 other guys in double-digit averaging points, 18.6 for Chris Paul, 18 for Eric Gordon, 13.9 for Clint Capella, 12.1 for Gerald Green, and 11.7 for Trevor Ariza. So those are your stars of the show, but they had guys averaging 6 points all the way down to their 11th spot on the roster. So yeah, these top 6 guys are outperforming the rest, but everybody coming off the bench was providing some boost. While those starters were getting rest so they can come in and dominate some more, the guys on the bench were coming in and doing work as well. And a deep team is a winning team. The Warriors are just the same way. Everybody that comes off the bench is somebody who's won a championship somewhere else, or they have some kind of defensive skill that stops the other team from scoring points while their starters are on the bench. So It's weird things like that help teams move along. But Clint Capella, like I was saying, 13.9 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, and he had 1.9 blocks per game. That's a lot. Anthony Davis, I think, had 1.8. So kind of comparable. Anthony Davis is obviously the star of the show. Clint Capella is not much of a scorer yet. Maybe he's been working on that this offseason, and he'll shine that way this coming season. Total points, that's another fun thing to look at with this team where they put up so many points. James Harden had 21.91, the leading scorer in the NBA last season, I'm pretty sure. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be up here this year, pretty close to those numbers just because he's learning and growing every single year. He's been training with Kobe Bryant this offseason, learning all those golden nuggets you need to have to be a winner. Eric Gordon had 1,200 points, 1,250 actually. Chris Paul, 1,080. Clint Capella, 1,020. But really, Chris Paul, he's the assist guy. I mean, he had 7.9 assists per game. I guess he kind of underperformed. But when you have a guy like James Harden, it's kind of hard not to give him the ball and just let him do the work. I mean, James Harden doesn't give Chris Paul a ton of assists because he dribbles around so much. But looking at their roster for next season, the big weapon that's coming in that could make or break this team is Carmelo Anthony. We saw him go to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they made it to the 4th seed in the Western Conference, 3 spots under the Rockets. They were splitting the ball up too much between scoring guys. So when Melo comes to this team, you're going to have James Harden, a scorer, Carmelo Anthony, a scorer, and Chris Paul, a passer, Clint Capella, a defensive guy. So maybe the 2 scorers and a passer and a defensive guy, maybe that's the mix. I mean, I think the Rockets are going to be up here this year. I think it's going to be Warriors at the 1 spot, Rockets at the 2 spot, and the Lakers are going to be, I'm thinking 4 or 5 is my thought. All we can do is wait. The season is just barely getting underway. It's an 82-game season, and we'll only know how it's going to shake down when spring comes. I don't know about you guys, but it's time for me to hit the showers and catch up on some highlights that I've missed while recording this show. Okay, I can't lie. I'm not gross. I don't just not shower when I do this stuff. Gosh. That does it for this episode of the All Ball Show presented by Abstract Sports. I want to know how you guys think all of these teams in the NBA are going to do this year. Feel free to drop your rankings in the comments below. Who do you think is going to make the playoffs? Give me your 1 through 8. In the East and the West. Definitely drop us some comments. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to hit like on this video if you enjoyed this. Subscribe to the channel if you want to catch up on some more basketball content throughout the season. But we're still going to be covering basketball content whether you like it or not. It could be G League. It could be WNBA. It could be the NBA. Probably mostly NBA. But this thing called the NBA 2K League is also coming up. And we want to get our hands in that bowl a little bit. Definitely hit subscribe. If you're a basketball fan, you're going to like what we put out on this channel. One of the goals with this is to try and record an episode every week. And so I will have some people helping me on some episodes. Sometimes I'll be by myself. But I want you guys to know that this is going to be a regularly posted channel, and you should definitely subscribe so you can stay up to date. You can follow me on Twitter at KyleClay2K, also on Instagram. Also, don't forget to follow the All Ball Show on Twitter and Instagram as well. Just look for All Ball Show and you'll see our logo on there. If you'd like to support the All Ball Show and the Abstract Sports Network, feel free to go over to abstractsports.com/support. Your gift helps me maintain this channel in terms of buying new equipment and also keeping our website and our blog online at abstractsports.com. Anything you give is greatly appreciated. We love all the support from our friends, fans, and family. So if you want to give, go to abstractsports.com/support. And that's all I've got for you for the NBA preview show for 2018-2019. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.